Playing that song and playing drums, I just love playing that song. And next thing I know, he's taking his solo, and as I open my eyes, he was turning at the same time that I opened my eyes, and he's taking his solo, and he turns to me, and he said, "Will you marry me?" And
Sheila E. was the last person Prince truly confided in. And now, the streets are buzzing with talk that she's finally revealing what Prince was trying to protect us from, and why some people think Diddy didn't want him alive to speak up. Word is, Prince wasn't just about to drop truth bombs about music ownership. Nah, folks believe he was gearing up to blow the lid off something way darker. The shady games, the twisted power moves, and even strange rituals that go down behind the scenes in the entertainment industry. And guess whose name keeps popping up in all this? Diddy! Yup, again, people are wondering if it's just another coincidence or if there's more smoke behind that fire. Now, Sheila E., who's kept quiet for years, is, according to multiple sources, finally speaking out.
There are reports that say that the landing last week was a treatment for some sort of drug overdose, whether prescription or illicit. Did you ever have any signs of drug use? Did you ever see any signs of drug use with him lately that would end up in something like this?
No, not at all.
And what she's saying? Straight up chilling. Allegedly, Sheila claims Prince was holding on to a truth so heavy he felt the world wasn't even ready for it. He was carrying secrets that ran deep, and it was eating at him the whole time. Here's a little throwback for context. Sheila E. first crossed paths with Prince back in 1977 during a concert with her dad. Years later, in 1984, she inked a deal with Warner Brothers and got to work on her first solo project, The Glamorous Life. And guess who was right there, co-writing and playing on that hit? Prince himself.
All right, that song is like, hey, yeah, so it felt good to me. So I'm playing, and all of a sudden, I was playing, and I had 3 congas I was playing, and I was like, oh, wait, I feel, okay, we gonna start doing this? Yeah, we start playing. So that song only is just that one conga drum, but it felt good to me, so I played the other drum as well. I went, right? And I hit that drum, and Marvin is a very soft-spoken man. And so he's singing what's going on, and all of a sudden he said, "Stop, hold on." And he just yelled, and everyone's like, you know, they've never heard him yell before. I never heard him yell, I just met him. And
Sheila E. wasn't just a side note in Prince's career. She was right there at the heart of it. She opened for him on the legendary Purple Rain tour back in '84 and '85, riding the wave of one of the most iconic eras in music history. Not long after that, she signed with Prince's very own label, Paisley Park Records, locking in a partnership that went way beyond business. Sheila E. even stepped into major leadership roles. She was the musical director for both Prince's Sign of the Times tour and the Love Sexy tour, and that's not all. She played on several of his albums throughout the '80s, showing up not just as a collaborator, but as a powerhouse in her own right. She was all over the stage with him, from rocking out in the Sign of the Times concert film to lighting it up at the Brit Awards and even hitting the road with him again in 2007.
Out on tour, we were dating for a very long time. Yeah. So he's playing Purple Rain, and I love playing that song on drums. I love it. He's playing, he gets to this thing, and we're just playing, and all of a sudden we kind of both just turned around and looked at each other, and then he asked me to marry him right there.
Wow. That's sexy. Man, this book, you talk about being so famous at one point that you couldn't go outside alone.
Well, that's...
But let's get into what people really keep talking about. Because beyond all the music and fame, Sheila E. and Prince had something real, something personal. Fans still whisper about this one moment. During a live show, Prince looked straight at Sheila from across the stage and mouthed the words, "Marry me." No script, no stunt, just raw emotion caught in the spotlight. Reports even say they were engaged for a short time after that. But they never made it down the aisle. And here's the twist. By the time Prince passed away in 2016, it's said that he and Sheila hadn't spoken in nearly 5 years. People say Prince and Sheila E. fell out because of her autobiography, The Beat of My Own Drum, where she shared personal stories about their relationship. But what if that's not the full story? Word on the street is they actually patched things up before Prince passed. And during that time, Prince allegedly opened up to her about some real industry secrets, including some shocking stuff involving Diddy. See, Prince had always been vocal about the dark side of the industry, warning about powerful figures pulling strings behind the scenes. These people could shape entire careers, control everything from narratives to masters, and shut artists down if they stepped out of line. Was Diddy one of those people? A lot of folks seem to think so. Let's not forget, Prince fought hard for artist rights. He was loud about it. He wanted artists to get paid properly and actually own their work. Prince signed with Warner Music back in 1977 at just 18 years old. And even though his early albums from 78 to 81 didn't exactly break records, Warner kept him around because he was that talented. He had that rare spark, the kind of artist that made a label look good just by being on their roster.
On December 31st, 1999, my publishing contract with Warner Chappell expired, thus emancipating the name I was given before birth, Prince, from all long-term restrictive documents.
Then boom! In 1982, just a year after MTV launched, Prince dropped more heat and cracked the US top 10 for the first time. That's when everything changed. He didn't just make music, he built a whole image, blending sound and visuals to create a myth around himself. He knew exactly how to use music videos to turn himself into a living legend. After making a serious impact in the music game, Prince decided to take control and launched his own label, Paisley Park Records. But even that came with strings attached. Warner Brothers helped fund the label and handle distribution, but by then, Prince had already started calling them out for how they were shortchanging him and taking advantage behind the scenes. And here's where it gets messy. That same Warner Brothers was also backing Diddy.
The first Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging.
Yup, they had a deal that gave Warner a massive 50% stake in Diddy's Bad Boy Records. Under that setup, Warner took charge of marketing and global distribution, both digital and physical, for the whole Bad Boy catalog. We're talking about artists like Mace, Mario Winans, Notorious B.I.G., and of course, Diddy himself. Diddy even bragged about the deal at the time, saying, "There have been a lot of boutique record labels that come and go, and we are still here." He claimed it gave them the perfect financial backing and structure to stay strong in the industry. But now, people are looking at all that with a different eye. Because the way Warner was playing Prince, lowballing him, limiting his control, is eerily similar to how Diddy was reportedly treating his own artists at Bad Boy. Just take Lil Jerome as an example. When asked if leaving the label was his own decision, Jerome said, "Well, it's just a mixture of the growing pains and the pressure of the music business." Sounds like more than just pressure, doesn't it? These patterns aren't just coincidences. They're part of a cycle that Prince was desperately trying to break. I had a nervous breakdown, and it was in Puff's best interest to not keep the project. That's what Lil Jerome admitted when talking about his exit from Bad Boy Records. So let's be real. It wasn't like he just chose to walk away. The man had about 13 solid tracks ready to go for an album before everything went left. But instead of support, they tossed him aside like nothing happened. And that wasn't an isolated case either. Carl Thomas also opened up about why he dipped from Bad Boy. And it's heartbreaking. After losing his brother, he says Diddy hit him up just 1 week later asking, "When you getting back in the studio? I got some hits for you." No pause, no empathy, like the man wasn't still deep in grief. That cold approach hit different. Then there's Biggie. And this one's heavy. According to Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, Biggie had plans to leave Bad Boy for a better deal. But after his tragic death, Diddy reportedly shifted the whole office's focus on one thing: selling life after death. Not mourning, not healing, just pushing numbers. Number one, top 10, that was the only priority. And let's not forget, before any lawsuits started rolling in, Diddy suddenly made headlines for giving publishing rights back to bad boy artists, both current and former. Sounds generous, right? But hold up. Aubrey O'Day wasn't buying it. She revealed she got the details months earlier and felt something was off. Turns out a bunch of other artists were also contacted around that same time with offers to reclaim their song rights. But, and here's the kicker, there was a catch. It wasn't just a clean handoff. There were strings attached, and some artists weren't willing to play that game. Diddy giving back publishing rights? Yeah, turns out that wasn't just out of the kindness of his heart. Insiders claim it was just another slick move to keep control.
On swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too, is that Diddy didn't let you bring your security in the party.
Manipulate the narrative and shut his artists up. And guess who saw this playbook coming from miles away? Prince. Long before the public caught on, Prince was allegedly keeping a close eye on everything. And if he spilled even half of what he knew to Sheila E., then it makes total sense why she's only now starting to speak. Because the truth Prince took to the grave, it might finally be catching up to the very people he tried to warn us about. Sources close to Sheila E. say Prince always knew what this industry was really about. He wasn't blinded by the glitz. He saw the trap. He spoke on how artists were being used, robbed of their creative rights, and tossed aside when they were no longer useful. He straight up called it modern-day slavery, and he meant that. Prince wanted to expose how the system steals legacies and controls lives. And yes, he wanted to name names. Now, to be fair, Sheila E. has kept things classy and respectful whenever she talks about Prince. But nearly 10 years after his death,
what message do you have to Prince fans?
Just keep saying prayers for everyone, for the family.
There was no sign of this. This is just...
You know, everyone gets sick once in a while. We don't know. We're going to find out.
she's allegedly starting to open up in quiet but powerful ways. She said Prince carried a heavy burden, one he barely spoke about. But people close to her say he trusted her with things that would shake the industry if they ever came out. Because Prince wasn't just fighting for his own masters, he was fighting to expose the entire machine. He believed that some of the biggest names in the game were out here playing God with people's lives. And with everything going down lately, especially the legal storm surrounding Diddy, people are starting to piece things together, and the puzzle is wild. What's even more chilling is that Prince seemed to know his time was almost up. Days before it happened, he even posted a photo of himself with a mysterious caption that was quickly deleted. It said, "Just when you thought you were safe." That wasn't just a post, that was a message. At his final appearance at Paisley Park, just after his reported hospital visit and literally days before his death, Prince stood in front of a crowd and said something that still haunts people. Wait a few days before you waste any prayers. Like, what did he know? Because only a few days later, he was gone. Found unresponsive at his estate in Minnesota, and the world lost the legend at just 57 years old. The official report claimed Prince died from an accidental overdose, a counterfeit Vicodin laced with fentanyl. But Sheila E. never believed that story.
Did you hear anything about who found him, how he was found, or the 911 call or anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah?
And I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here to get to the bottom of it, though, it sounds like.
We pretty much know what's going on, but, you know, all we want to do is just talk about the man, the musician.
She said it never added up. Number, not at all. That was her response. And if she has doubts, we've got reason to question it too. So here we are, years later, still wondering, was Prince's death just a tragic ending to a musical genius? Or is there something way deeper hiding underneath it all? Is Sheila E. finally ready to blow the lid off everything Prince warned her about? And just how deep is Diddy tied into all of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because we need to talk about this. Do you think these dots were never meant to connect? Or are we finally seeing the truth that's been in front of us the whole time? Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And of course, I'll see you in the next one.